What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Keep It Hoop YouTube channel. Today I wanted to go over the Nuggets offense and what it might look like going forward now that Jamal Murray is out for the rest of the year with the unfortunate ACL injury. So right off the bat, we have to ask ourselves, what does Murray mean to the Nuggets and how do they use him? Well, if you guys have seen any Nuggets games, you guys have seen a lot of Murray and Jokic pick and rolls. These two have a lot of chemistry and they often get really good looks for themselves and for their teammates. Now, an interesting thing that the Nuggets do a lot is they use a lot of handoffs for pick and roll. So those are the two types of plays we're going to look at first. Murray is actually third in the league in points per possession off of handoffs out of all players in the league who have gotten at least 100 handoff plays. On top of that, Murray was also decently efficient as the ball handler in pick and rolls as he averaged 0.98 points per possession in those plays. It's not great or elite, but it's alright and ranks similar to guys like Kyrie, Luka, Paul George, Damian Lillard, Devin Booker, and Trae Young. The pick and roll also helped Jokic a lot as he is fifth in the league in points per possession out of all players with at least 100 possessions with said play types. Another thing that Murray excelled at also was the catch and shoot. Murray is fourth in the league in points per possession at an extremely high 1.4 PPP on spot up plays, which ranks him with the likes of Steph Curry, Paul George, Joe Harris, and Chris Middleton, who we all know is elite guys off the catch and shoot. Right, so we went over some of the numbers, but let's actually watch the tape and see it in action. So this is a pick and roll right here, not with Jokic, but with Najee. But still, Murray is able to get to the rim, lefty finish off of the left foot. You know, he has a lot of different layup packages. He can finish without the backboard, with the backboard, lefty, righty, has a floater that we'll see in the next play, has a really nice mid-range game as well. This is a floater off of the pick and pop with Jokic. And then we're going to see in the next play, a transition shot that he likes to go to a lot, that pull-up three. And he really has it all, right? I mean, you're seeing the whole package here. The next play is a really nice one right here that the Nuggets drew up. You have a cut through here to kind of have some movement going. But then you have Murray setting a back screen for MPJ. Now, MPJ has become a really solid player, so the defense is paying a lot of attention to him. But that's really just a decoy because you're going to see here that Murray's going to come up. And we talked about how deadly he is off of the handoff. Gets a really nice look at the basket. Gets it to go. So we see the mid-range shot coming into play, which we talked about earlier, right? Surveys the defense, can't find anything, pulls off for contested, but still a nice mid-range shot. So here, off again, the handoff, and now this time, you know, they play pretty close to him. Jokic ends up getting a wide open three. Again, another handoff play into a pick and roll, another mid-range shot. And now this time, you see the spot-up shot, right? So even in just these few minutes, we've seen everything that Murray can do and has done for this team. Just the ability to play the pick and roll and pick and pop really well, whether it's for himself, getting to the rim, you know, layups and floaters, pulling up for a mid-range shot, the transition shot for three. He's able to get the ball to Jokic when Jokic has a good look, and then either Jokic scores it or off of that, you know, if they overhelp on Jokic, Jokic can then swing it, get guys like MPJ, Will Barton, Monte Morris shots. So there's a lot of good things that he does, and they're going to miss him a lot, right? And we haven't even seen the ISO plays that he can, you know, he can go for, right? He can get his own shot, and he's probably the second best on the team at doing that outside of Jokic. And I say outside of Jokic just because Jokic can do it in the paint and outside. But outside of that, you know, Murray is that primary ball handler who can get his own shot, end of shot clock, end of games, and he's made clutch shots, and they're going to miss him, I think, even more so in the playoffs because of that. So what can the Nuggets do to just make up for the loss of Murray as much as possible? Well, the name that's come up the most is Michael Porter Jr. He's had a breakout season. You know, he came into the league as a guy with a lot of potential, dealt with some injuries, and he didn't get consistent minutes because of his defense. Now he's become a way better defender and rebounder this year. He's getting consistent minutes, and he's, you know, done the most with his minutes, right? Improved all across the board. His stats look a lot better, and his ability to score and really shoot especially is just off the charts, right? And he's going to have more shots, more minutes, more opportunities, and, you know, you hate for your moment to come off of someone being injured, but this is really up to Michael Porter Jr. to salvage this moment and to, you know, just be his best self and give everything he can to the Nuggets. And I don't think that he himself can make up for Murray and everything that they're going to miss with him gone, because you have to forget MPJ isn't just filling in for Murray, right? Like MPJ has to fill in for what he has to do, what he's done so far this season, and give them what Murray's done. And he's not going to go out and average 40 points, right? That being said, there are some positives. Now, there's a smaller sample size, and we talked about, you know, Jamal Murray being really good off of handoffs. Well, that was out of a minimum of 100 possessions. If you increase the sample size or the player pool to players with a minimum of 50 attempts, MPJ is actually fourth in the league in points per possession off of handoffs. Again, that's a smaller sample size, and it's a little different when you're able to do that as the third guy, because you have less attention on you, less defensive attention on you, and teams are going to be more prone to focusing on MPJ. They're going to put their best defenders on him now, which they usually reserved for Jamal Murray, at least perimeter defenders, and it's not going to come easy. But I think Nuggets fans can rest a little bit easier knowing that MPJ has thrived off of handoffs, and that is a play that the Nuggets like to run a lot. Now, I don't know how much they'll run it, because a lot of times they ran Jamal Murray off of handoffs because he has the ability to not only score but also find guys, especially Jokic. MPJ and Jokic don't have as much chemistry off of that. They don't have too many reps. Now, granted, that can improve with time going into the playoffs, but MPJ also isn't a great passer. It's not something that he's, known for. So Mike Malone, the coach of the Nuggets, might not be too in favor of trying to run too many handoff plays for MPJ. Another number to keep an eye on is, we talked about how Jamal Murray is one of the best spot-up shooters in the league, especially when you take into account the numbers, right? 1.4 points per possession, very high. MPJ is a very good shooter. He's shooting at a really high rate this year, but his points per possession in spot-up shots is actually at 1.19. Now, that's still very good, don't get me wrong, but it's not at the elite level that Jamal Murray is at, so I think that's another thing that they'll miss out on. So right here, you're going to have back-to-back possessions or back-to-back plays showcasing what he can do, right? Again, very good still at the catch-and-shoot shot. Not as good as Jamal Murray, but still a really good one. And then you're going to see here his ability to come off handoffs. Again, not something he's done too much this year, but still has showcased the ability to do so. Has a really good mid-range and three-point shot, and I think they will utilize him a bit more. Right here, you're going to see another cut, and I think this is something that they're going to try to utilize the most. He's very good at cutting and finishing around the rim. I think he's shooting something like 79% around the rim this year, and with Jokic, who's a great passer, that's always going to be a very valuable skill to have. So that goes into my next point, or next player actually, that I want to focus on, because I think that for them to really utilize that, you can't have MPJ on the ball too much. And I think the guy that needs to be focused on is Monte Morris. So why do I want to focus on Monte Morris? Well, obviously, he's one of the guys along with Campazzo who are going to have to play and fill in the point guard minutes left by Jamal Murray. But he's actually been a really solid pick and roll player this season. Out of all the NBA players who have had at least 100 possessions of pick and roll plays, he's actually 8th in the league in points per possession as the ball handler in pick and roll plays. So, his ability to run the pick and roll, get shots for himself and others, I think has been underrated. He's a really tough player, a guy that doesn't try to do too much. And, I think how he ends up playing for the Nuggets, along with MPJ, of course, is going to be really big. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to be the third guy, because I think Will Barton is the most likely candidate in terms of scoring output, right? Just in terms of guys who are going to be the third leading scorer, I think it's going to be Will Barton, just because he's filled that role for this team in the past. And then you also have Aaron Gordon, who hasn't really had to score as much since coming to Denver, but I think now he'll not only get more opportunities, but he'll have to do so for this team to succeed. But I do think Monte Morris is going to have nights where he's the third leading scorer, fourth leading scorer, solely based off of his ability to play the pick and roll. So let's go to the film and see what that will look like. First play here is actually a catch and shoot opportunity here, just spot up shot. He isn't the shooter that Jamal Murray is, but he's shown over time that he's capable of knocking down the open ones. Isn't a guy that shoots off the dribble too much, but again, just the ability to spread the floor is going to help guys like Jokic. This time rejects the screen set by Jokic. Really nice finish off of the right hand with the off of the right foot and a right hand. He's always under control. Has a high IQ and just stays patient. Really good at surveying the floor. Can get guys like JaVale and the other athletes on this team dunks as well. And I think the fact that he, along with really Jokic are now the two guys who have a solid balance between being able to get their own shot or score, and get guys involved. Will Barton and Aaron Gordon have shown the ability to make plays at times, but both of those guys, as well as MPJ, are guys who are shoot first, score first guys. And Monte Morris is a solid, he's solid at both of those things, both scoring and passing. So it's going to be key in just helping Jokic as much as he can, because Jokic is having an MVP season. He's had his hands full, and it's going to be even harder for him. Defenses can key in on him more, so they really need as many guys to step up as possible. And Monte Morris, I think, is a guy that has just gone kind of untalked about, right? Again, we all talked about MPJ, and that's the guy everyone's going to talk about. But I think Monte Morris, along with Campazzo, who's had a really solid season, and Aaron Gordon and Will Barton, they're going to need to step up for this team to go as far as they want to. And even guys like Dozier, he's going to have to come up clutch in certain games as well. Now, do I think the Nuggets are a championship team? I don't think so. I thought that with Murray healthy and the way they looked after Gordon came over, I thought they were actually, up there with, maybe after the Lakers, but up there with the Clippers as a really scary team. Now, I don't think they can get to the finals anymore. It sucks because we could have had possibly, we talked about a potential first round matchup with the Lakers, which could have ended up being one of the greatest, if not the greatest first round matchups of all time. We're robbed of that. You just hate to see what happened to Jamal Murray. So many injuries this year. It seems like it's one of those years, but Denver really clutched it out, stuck together, and was an underdog all of last season, and came out, playing really well in the playoffs. So who knows what's going to happen? Anything can happen. But I do think a lot of it falls on MPJ. This is his time. Hopefully he can take advantage of it. Again, you don't want to see an opportunity like this come from an injury, but this is really his time to shine, and Jokic is going to need all the help he can get. So we'll see how they do. They still have about a month or so until the playoffs for them to kind of gel together with this new rotation, I guess, with Murray being out. So we'll see. Maybe we'll do another video leading up to the playoffs to see if any of these changes get implemented. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll be back Friday with another video. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And we will see you guys again soon. Peace.